the studio and welcome back to the mat. This is week 5 of live streaming Building a Mat Pilates Habit. So the whole purpose of this series, where you come on every week and do just a couple of mat Pilates exercises, that we take those same exercises every single day of the week, is to make sure that you are keeping up a habit of mat exercises in your daily life. So this could be for a couple of reasons. Either you are new to mat Pilates and you want to learn it and start having a habit rather than I'm going to go to a class once a week, but you want to feel the differences of having regular sessions and practicing mat Pilates at home on a regular basis, or you're a Pilates practitioner or a teacher or whatever, that you do a lot of Pilates, but there's a sweet of those large apparatuses, right? You see them all over the studio, and I gotta say, I was out of town last week and kind of felt my heart shattering because I couldn't get on the springboard or the chair or the reformer, right? We love those apparatuses, which is great, but we have strength that comes from the mat and the apparatus, and you can take mat work anywhere. So it's making sure that although we're getting regular exercise on all the different apparatuses, that we're also still making time for mat work, just a couple of exercises a day. You could spend hours on everything else and give a couple minutes to mat and really build up that mat habit throughout your life. So that's the whole purpose. So we're going to be doing edited and live, folks. What we're going to be doing is launching into our exercises. I don't know how many there are today. I haven't counted. We're going to be launching into our exercises. Some of them we're going to have a couple of different variations for, and then I will go through quickly so that as you're watching back, you can get straight into the exercises, and then following that, I'm going to give some explanation. So if you want to make sure that you're doing them right or hear a couple things about them, I'll be doing that after we go through the first time. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So far, we've been doing 100 or some variation of the 100 every day as a warm-up. We're going to do it again today and this week. So we're going to come down. We'll peel up head, neck, and shoulders, lift the legs out 45 degrees or 90 degrees, straight up, or in tabletop for modification. And we're going to inhale for 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Make sure you're inhaling. 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. 8, exhale. 9, exhale. And 10, exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. From here, we'll lower down head, neck, and shoulders. Roll the legs over. Lift them upright. Hands come underneath the hips for support. We're going into the scissors first. Stretching both legs out and away. Scissors switching midair. Keeping those hips high. Now switching, transitioning into bicycle. Sweeping those legs just as if you are pedaling on a bicycle. Some people get confused about the crisscross exercise. In the exercise world, they call something like that a bicycle. This is the Pilates bicycle. 2 more. Right here, bring those legs back together. Bring the hands down to the mat. Roll down to the spine 1 vertebrae at a time. Place the feet down. We're lifting up into the shoulder bridge. Peel up into that bridge position. Right leg floats up in the tabletop. Stretches out long. Flex the leg. Bring it down. Point. Bring it up. Bend that leg, lower it back down, keep the hips high, lift up the left, stretch long, flex down, point up. Bend and bring it back down. Roll down through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Stretch the legs long. Seated, bring the feet together. Flex or point through the feet. We're going to stabilize through the hips and feet. Come into the spine twist. So we'll inhale to prepare. Exhale, twist, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist, twist. Inhale, center. Watch that there's no shifting through the feet or through the hips. The only motion is happening through the torso. Feeling a ringing motion in the waist. One more each side. Good, bring it in together. Lower down the hands. We're going to roll down the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Going into the jackknife, peeling the legs up. Reaching up and over into this rollover position. Lifting up into jackknife. Folding the legs back down and rolling down to the spine. One vertebrae at a time. Lengthen the legs out to 45 degrees and repeat. Fold, roll down. So this is building on from our rollover. Several inversion exercises this week. Let's take 3 more. Last time. Roll down. Good. Lengthen the legs to the mat. We're now moving on to the side for the side kick. Rolling over, propping up on the elbow. Other arm comes up, elbow towards the sky. Feet coming forward towards the front ankle of your mat. Lifting the top leg to about hip level. We're going to flex as we take forward for 2 pulses and point as we reach back. Reach back. One more. Bring that leg in. Roll to the other side. I can feel my body saying to me, you don't do this one enough. Easy girl, stability. Point, bring that back together. We're going to roll now back onto the back. And we're going to take the scissors and the bicycle with the hips down. Bring the legs up towards 90 degrees. Arms reaching out long, fingertips reaching beyond the legs. And we're going to scissor switch right here, keeping the leg at 90 degrees. Keep the chin tucked forward. Make sure you're not looking back behind you. Switch into the bicycle. Same thing. Going from 90 degrees and reaching out. Bonus round right here. You can lift up head, neck, and shoulders. Take those legs straight up. Scissors again. And bicycle. one right here. Bring those legs in. Good. Pull the knees into chest. Give a little rock from side to side. Whew. Couple minutes. Should have gotten you a little bit red-faced and warmed. You're practicing this in a cold room. It is naturally heated in response to your movement. Okay, so let's go into a little bit more detail. If you don't need the detail and you've done it before, see you again tomorrow when you're repeating these exercises. Also, if you're new joining me here and you want to find the playlist, you can find it in the upper right-hand corner for all the past weeks so far. We've had 4 previous weeks worth of stuff, so if you want to catch up on those exercises, that's great. They're all kind of building, so we're getting a little bit more challenging with every week right now, and then we'll switch things up once we get through all of them. Okay, so some explanation. So you can make your 100 easier by modifying to 90 degrees rather than out to 45. You can also bring to tabletop to modify, and you can further modify by planting the feet on the ground. Make sure that your chin is not jutting up like this. We're going to think about lifting, peeling up head, neck, and shoulders. Gaze towards the legs. Engage right here to lift this. And we're going to get stronger here through the core and through the neck so that we can avoid some neck strain there. You can also modify by taking one arm behind at a time and switching the arms that you're pulsing through if you need the support of your hands. Okay, so where do we start first? With our inverted exercises that have support, the bicycle and the scissors. So we peel up here like we would in the rollover and stretch the legs up. So my legs aren't balanced over top of my hips, they're angled forward, but they're not in a rollover position. They're up here towards an angle, so it's like I'm supported in a jackknife almost. And we are going to take the legs, we're opening and reaching forward and out. So I'm not just going like this and bringing my top leg down, I'm also reaching my other leg away, which is where the balancing act really happens, right? And if you practice this every day and recorded yourself, on day 7, you'd be looking much better than on day 1. You'd be really, really surprised. Same thing with the bicycle, that we are reaching and extending in both directions, okay? Pulling the knee in, extending straight, and switching sides. Okay, rolling down here. Shoulder bridge. We want to make sure when we're bridging that our feet are parallel, toes facing forward. So if you have a tendency to turn out or turn in, or your knees to fall out or fall in, we want to take a little gander, make sure that they're in line with our hips, the feet are facing forward. When we peel up one vertebrae at a time, we want to be a straight line from the knees down to the shoulders, not extended like this. And you want to stabilize here, lift that one leg, extend down. Now you might find that you need to support yourself a little bit with your hands. That's good. Here's the shoulder bridge prep, where we lift a knee into that tabletop position and bring it back down. Lift and bring it back down. This is a great place to start. Right here, if you find it impossible to hold this, have steady hips, and lift a foot off the ground, here's where I want you to practice. Peel one heel up, shift the weight into the other leg, almost about to pick it up, but not quite, and shift to the other side. And just get comfortable shifting the weight back and forth while you stabilize the hips, because this can be really tricky, and we don't want to go like this to lift a hip, okay? So we'll slowly build in strength. This is one of those that looks super easy to just stabilize and move through that motion, but it isn't. That's the story with Pilates exercises. Okay, spine twist. Looks super easy. Here's what I see the most. So, watch what I'm doing here. I'm really exaggerating it, but what's happening? You can see my feet shifting back and forth, which means my hips are shifting back and forth. So you want to lift and switch to the other side. Okay, so we want to zip those legs together, flex your feet, and keep the hips stable, like we're anchored down at the hips and we're anchored down at the ankles. Twist only happens through here. You should feel your core turning on like crazy. It can be hard to start here. Some better starting places might be to stack the arms and take a little twist. twist the whole way through. You can take a single pulse like this or 2 pulses. Use that exhalation on the twist. You're exhaling while you're wringing out. Okay, another option for the arms is to bring them behind the head, elbows wide. Sometimes people have a tendency here to lead with the shoulders, so they're kind of like this, right? So that might be kind of challenging. You can place the hands on the shoulders, which is what I prefer. The next advancement to coming straight out is right here. What makes this exercise really challenging, it requires for you to twist that you need to be able to sit up with good posture, okay? So if you're normally like, it's hard for you to sit up straight because your hamstrings are tight, your low back's tight, like we don't want to be hunched over here. We need to be stacked straight up tall through the spine, shoulders over top of the hips. So sitting like this might be a challenge. So if you're really tight in the hamstrings and you're like, I can't do that, gentle bend through the legs is much better. We'd rather be bent through, I mean, it's ideal to have straight legs. We'd rather be bent through the legs to have a tall spine. That's going to make it possible for you than to be here and in a bad posture trying to twist. You want it really upright, twist, 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 right? Another thing that can be really helpful if you're tight through the low back or tight through the hamstrings is to place a yoga block or a book to elevate your seat so that you're seated up, and then you can either gently bend through the legs, or you might find that you can have them perfectly straight, and that's a great way to modify the spine twist, is to sit with your bum elevated a bit. Okay, so next we went into the jackknife. This is another inversion exercise. So if inversions where the hips come over the shoulders are inappropriate for you, you're just going to have to skip this one. But as far as the jackknife goes, not too many things that you can do, modifications to make it easier. You're going to need to be able to do a nice smooth rollover to advance into that jackknife position. Okay, so work on the rollover and variations to get into the rollover, because you're going to need to come here and be able to roll down with control. And where we switch things up with the jackknife is to come here, lift up into that jackknife, come back down, and then roll down through. You can even stay here and take multiple lifts. One thing that we want to make sure we're doing here is keeping the weight in the shoulder blades and not coming to the head and the neck, and rolling down with control, one vertebrae at a time. Side kick, I think we covered everything that we need to really there. You can modify this one by, rather than having your hands up like this, you can place it forward for support on the mat. No problems there. We want to think about keeping the ankle in line with the hip here. And as we're coming forward and coming back, we want to think about, you can also hold onto your mat as you come back, because it's really challenging balance-wise. You might feel like you're going to biff it a little bit. This one takes a little bit of practice and time. It looks like it would be the easiest. It's not necessarily, right? One thing we want to think about is keeping that leg level so we don't change, like coming out here and coming out here. We're not changing the height. We want to sweep forward as if we're sweeping across a level surface, flexing forward, pointing back. Single pulse. If the 2 pulse is throwing you, you can take it into a single, and you can play around with different elements there, but we want to just stay a nice line, ankle the feet out, and we want to keep hip stacked over hip, shoulder over shoulder. You may find that I wag like this a little bit as I'm reaching forward and back. But real challenge there, and if you can't do inversion exercises, I've showed you at the end there the last things that we do to take the bicycle and the scissors to a different place for us core-wise is to just keep them up at 90 degrees, reach them out and away, and you can peel up head, neck, and shoulders to get the rectus abdominis engaged at the top. So different variations. So if the first isn't appropriate for you, or if you find it like you can be in that position, reach the leg out, keep trying there. If you find like I can only do a few repetitions, no problem. At the end, We're going to make sure that we're working on that reaching motion and stabilizing through the core while we do so with having the legs straight up. So doing something totally different with that exercise by bringing the hips down, but that is generally a pretty good one for most people. Also, one comment that I want to make this week is it's kind of more an advanced movement to be lying down and lift the legs either to 45 degrees or lift them flat to roll over. If you find that you don't have the core strength and you're like using your back to lift up the legs, don't go there. So even if you see me doing it on a regular basis, you're going to float the legs up the tabletop first, then reach out and come up and over. So I'm flowing through them quickly and just lifting my legs off the mat like I might do my own personal practice, but for those that are like beginner intermediate level, I would have them float up into tabletop, reach the legs away, and then come over. So one thing you don't want to be doing is if you can lift the legs like this while maintaining a neutral spine, great. But if you're going like this to lift them up, lift them into tabletop, then reach away and roll over. So if I haven't commented on that before, that's where we want to be with getting to that position there and lifting the legs off the mat and maintaining a neutral spine, which takes practice and a strong transverse abdominis and core as a whole. I hope that you're finding this weekly practice useful, that you're enjoying it, that you're coming to it. And if you're not coming back and doing the exercises every day, maybe you have a goal for yourself to do it 2 days this week. Guess what? You're still forming a habit, you're still forming a practice. Even if you're only doing it once a week, but you're pulling it out and you're practicing it, that is fantastic. I really appreciate you guys being here. Let me know if you're loving it. Let me know if there's things that you want to see in the future. If you have questions for me, if there's any exercise that you're like, here's what's going on for me. Will you please help me with this one? I have lots of how-tos that are available. You can sign up for my Mat Pilates on Patreon, where I'm producing how-tos where we go into detail about exercises, but I can certainly share more of those things here as well if you're wanting to see that. But to really get more into mat practice, I have other things available. But I hope that this is a great start for you or a great place to be that's available to you on YouTube. And let me know what you want to see. We're kind of progressively going through the exercises, but we're going to start to put them all over the place, combine things together. That's what's coming in future weeks. I hope you enjoy these exercises this week and that the rolling and articulating through your spine feels good. Those inversions feel good for you. You're finding like, I just don't have the core strength to do this. Maybe you want to skip a week and go into my core videos that I have of how to strengthen the core. I have a lot of those out there, a couple of those, I don't know how many I have. I have them out there for like basics and beginners because there are exercises that are like pre-mat work and Pilates that you can do as a physical therapy type thing or to build strength so that you can get into the classical series of mat work, which, let's face it, isn't easy. There's not too many like super beginner exercises in the classical series of mat work, which is generally what people don't tell you when you're starting Pilates, that Pilates is hard. And if it isn't hard, it probably is not Pilates that you're being taught. So it should feel challenging. A couple of repetitions, there's a reason that we're not like, okay, 20 reps of that because it's a lot, like 5 to 8 reps and I'm red-faced and sweating. So if you stuck along this, if you stuck around this long, good for you, gold star. I will see you guys next week. Definitely feel free when you come back and go through this tomorrow to not watch all of this wonderful talking. You can just take the first couple minutes to do the exercises. Exercises are in your head. You don't even need to watch it again. You can just practice those exercises, and add in whichever ones you want to. I'll see you guys back here for our mat habit again next Monday, and I hope you'll be practicing these exercises with me every single day. I am here in the studio. All right, Matt, give me some time. My springboard and my reformer need some love today, and I'm going to do a little bit of bar. I'm wanting to do a little bit of everything today, and guess what? I can. All right, you guys, see you next time.